What's up guys, Viper FPV here, and today we have the Emax Tinyhawk Freestyle we're going to be doing a review on. Now this is Emax's attempt to make a toothpick style quad. It doesn't look exactly like a toothpick because it has a top and a bottom plate, but I believe that Bob Rugi, Kebab FPV, he's the one that pretty much started the whole kind of craze with the toothpick frames and the toothpick quads. He kind of made his own type of design using like I believe it was the Tinyhawk. Well, I don't even know if it was a Tinyhawk. I believe it was like a Mobula, like flight controller, and also like the ESCS and the motors. And then he pretty much designed his own little frame called the toothpick frame, and was able to get some really crazy performance out of them. So it kind of started the craze of a ton of manufacturers making their own little versions of the toothpick. And this is pretty much Emax's attempt. Now, it doesn't look exactly like a toothpick, because the toothpick does not have a top plate, but I'll tell you, this thing performs just like one of those quads, if not phenomenal. And I believe that he might even had some input, Kebab FPV, with the design, or even maybe some design choices with this. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to do a bench breakdown of all the components it's using, a little flight, and then I'll give you my thoughts on if this is something you should be picking up yourself. So let's go ahead and get to it. All right, so here at the bench, and we have our Emax Tinyhawk Freestyle, and it comes in this nice little case here. And this thing is selling for about $105, $106 or so. So we're gonna go ahead and kind of go over what exactly you get for what you're buying here. So you do get this nice little case here that it comes with, and it's really handy to kind of put your batteries in and everything. So you go ahead and get your quad, of course. You also do get two, I guess these are the Emax brand, 450 mAh batteries, and you do need to use both of them because it is a 2S quad. And you also do get a charger with it, which is actually kind of, I didn't expect it to get a charger, and like I said, it really didn't look. But you do get a little balanced charger here. You can go ahead and put up 6 of these. I think these are PH 2.0 connectors, and you just plug them in. Just make sure that they are actually at the similar voltages around it. And then you can go ahead and charge, these or something a little bigger. What I've been using is some of these little nitro nectar batteries. They're not the greatest to use on it because they're such a small capacity. They're 250 milliamps. And you get about 1 minute to 2 minutes of flight time depending on how hard you're pushing it. But they do come in handy if you just want to fly and just fly around and just get some practice in. They do come in handy. I actually kind of like these ones. These are a little bigger than these 450. These are 525 RacedayQuads batteries. I've been using these ones, and these are, like I said, real handy to have. So if you want to pick these up, I'll be putting these down in the video description, link down there. And then, like I said, it comes with 2 batteries, which is a real sweet deal since you're getting the drone, and also a charger. It does come with 2 packs of these Avon props. And I'd probably recommend to pick up an extra set of these props because you will probably be going through quite a few of them, because this thing is so small that you want to go through trees, you want to go through little gaps, you'd be nicking them up, and you probably want to change them out. So that is a really good tip there. So I'm going to go ahead and take the quad out here and we take a look and get a closer look at it. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in. Right off the bat, we can tell we have this really weird PH 2.0 connector. It actually does use 2S, so they're in series, and it's able to do 2S on it. If you don't like this connector, you could cut this off and put a XT30 or even XT60. XT60 probably wouldn't work because there's no battery small enough that usually use that connector, but an XT30 would probably do you right on this. And then all for the motors, we have some Emax. Let me see if I can get it to focus. We have some Emax 1103 7000 kV motors, and they're brushless motors, so that's what makes it handle phenomenally. And then we also have our frame here, which is a really kind of weird design, if you can say, but it is pretty sturdy. I have definitely hit trees with it and everything else. They do have this nice little white color scheme on it as well. It's kind of reminiscent of a 5-inch quad where it has a bottom plate and also a top plate as well. And then what we have here also is that we have our camera right in the front. This is a 600 TVL. I believe this is an Emax brand camera we have in the front. And then for the flight controller and everything it's running underneath, it is actually using the Tinyhawk flight controller. So it has, you know, and they have it directly soldered to the actual board itself. I believe it's like a 12, I don't even think it's a 12 amp. I think it's, see if I can find some specs here. Maybe it's a 6 amp ESC. I'm not 100% certain. If you knew what the amperage of the ESC on this is, leave a comment down below and help me out. But it is using a MPU 6000 gyro. It is using Betaflight. It uses the Maytech F411 firmware. By the way, it is actually a 5 amp ESC. So that's a 4-in-1 with built into the actual board. And then we also have a little capacitor that they actually put on here too to clean up the video. And it does have a built-in, I believe it's a D8 receiver on here as well. And you bind it up with a little button down here on the bottom. See if I can point it out. Where is it? It is right there. So it's right there. You just kind of just push up. You actually turn it on already. You plug it in the USB, hit the button, and then you can go ahead and bind your receiver up. It's pretty simple. Don't have to worry about having this pushed down while you're plugging the 2 batteries, and that's a pain in the ass if it was. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. It is using a video transmitter too that's already on there. It's mounted. That is using a 25 milliwatt transmitter for the video, so you're not getting crazy range with it. But we'll go over that in the second part of the video after we do the flight. So, but that should pretty much round it out for what the components are on the Emax Tinyhawk Freestyle. So let's go ahead and do a flight, and then we'll come back. Alright, so we're back. I'm actually in my kitchen right now because it's just so hot in the garage. It's been like 100 degrees outside, so, and in the garage it's even hotter. So I'm doing all of my recordings now in the kitchen for the time being. But so what are my thoughts on the Emax Tinyhawk Freestyle? I really like it. Genuinely like it, especially for the price, $106. You can pick one up at RacedayQuads or on Banggood. I don't think there's really a better type of deal on, especially if you're a beginner and you just got your goggles, you got your radio, and you're looking for something to practice on and maybe beat up. That thing will definitely take the abuse. So let's go ahead and go over exactly what I think of this little guy here. So I didn't cover this in the beginning part of the video, but on the weights on this thing, without batteries, it's 46 grams. And then with two 450 mAh batteries, it is 79 grams. So that is well beyond, like below the limit of 250 grams if you have any local laws in your area. So it is definitely something to consider. But let's kind of go over the negatives of some things I noticed when flying it around and setting everything up. Setting everything up was actually a breeze. Setting up my switches, putting everything together in Betaflight, it pretty much came already set up. All I had to do is just make sure my switches were working on my radio and just pretty much pick which UART I wanted to use, and it just worked. So regarding camera and the video quality, I'm not sure if you were able to pick that up from the DVR footage from my Fat Sharks, but the camera's not that impressive. I would give it a 6 out of 10. On my personal rating on it. It doesn't really have that great wide dynamic range on it. I probably would recommend maybe upgrading it if you're looking at, you know, maybe doing some mods to it and fixing some things that can make it better. So I'll definitely recommend maybe the camera, doing a little, one of those little new run cam or Foxier little nano cameras. That probably would fit in real well. I think they even made a Foxier Predator as well. Probably what I would probably pick is the Foxier Predator, little nano size to install in there. And then you don't also have any way to adjust the angle, so it's pretty much fixed at like I guess it's not even a 45. It's more like a 30-degree angle. And if you want to give yourself more angle on that, you're gonna have to kind of jig it up and then maybe put some glue in there or something, or some foam to be able to, maybe some zip ties to be able to get you more of like a 50-degree angle if you wanted to. I mean, it can do it, the frames will let you do it, but it just won't, it just fixed in there because it's slotted into the actual carbon fiber. Another thing too is the power to weight ratio on it. I would give that thing a 9 out of 10. I can do pretty much any trick that I want to do with this little tiny drone. I was actually really shocked when I went to go fly around and it was doing flips, rolls, power loops, Matty flips. I was just impressed, honestly. But do keep in mind that since it's so light, it does lack the inertia of, you know, pretty much a bigger 5-inch quad. So if you flick it, it's not gonna flick as far, if that kind of makes sense. So keep that in mind when you're flying that thing around as well. Now durability, I'll give that thing an 8 out of 10. I have hit some trees, I have crashed into the grass, and I've pretty much given it some abuse, and it has held together just fine, and I don't have any complaints. So I'll give durability 8 out of 10. Build quality, it's Emax, pretty much enough said. It's built great. I mean, it's already set up from Betaflight, like I said before, and all the solder joints and everything look perfect. I didn't really have to fix anything on it. And I mean, if some sticklers maybe you want to zip tie maybe the power lead so it doesn't get caught in the props, that's something you can do. But other than that, it is great how it was built. Now we're going to talk about some range, the video range and the radio link. Pretty much your radio link to your radio and also the video range. That's something that can be improved on, and I probably would suggest maybe putting like a XM Plus receiver in there, or something with more diversity for the radio, along with maybe a circular polarized antenna for the video instead of the and then for the radio link using diversity for exactly for that. So, you know, you get about a couple football fields lengths of range. That's pretty much what it is. It's not really expected though to go that far. It's not a 5-inch long range quad. It's not a 7-inch. I mean, it's made to pretty much go out in your backyard, go out into a little park and rip it around and have some fun with it. So it's not really made to do any range. So saying that, you know, the range is bad or anything like that, that's kind of subjective because it is not really made to go really that far. I mean, you're using two 450 milliamp batteries. I mean, you could probably put a bigger one on there. I've used 525. You probably can go up to 600, and then you start kind of probably getting into territory where it's starting to impact the performance of it. So I probably wouldn't go too much bigger. But it is a 2S quad, and you can't fly it on 1S because of just how the power connector is. You can probably try, but it probably chew through the batteries like crazy. So I wouldn't even suggest trying that. So my final score on the Emax Tinyhawk is an 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed it, and I think for the price to performance and also everything you get in the package, you get the charger, you get the 2 batteries, you get the drone, you get a couple props. It's a really good deal. So I'll leave a link to it down in the video description down below. And if you found this video helpful, go ahead and give it a like. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys in a future video. Peace.